Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to build a Minecraft Italian village. So, if you're ready or not, let's get into it. As you guys can see here, we are outlining the buildings for what will later become the first additions to this village. So, I'm adding on those with red wool, which is kind of a pain to get rid of, but it's alright. To me, material gathering was probably the worst of this, but as we get back into it, we're finishing out this path here, which will wrap around the mountain for the next episode, hopefully. And so we're just going into the contours of the mountain, which is kind of a pain to build, but we get it done eventually. So here we see. Here we start the first house, which is one of my favorites, although I think I like one of the other ones more. But this is a very challenging build because it's diagonal in a weird way, and I didn't have a lot of references for something I'd like here, so I kind of just had to wing it. But I think it turned out alright, and I think it was a pretty good build overall. Here we get into one of my favorite buildings. This was actually based off a comment by somebody to build a pizzeria, which is shown here. And I think this is one of the best interiors I build here. I'm going to make another episode about building interiors, but this one turned out pretty good, and I like it. Here I built a little tower and overhang building, which is one of my favorite add-ons to the city, kind of adding it a little bit of a skyline. So, one of my favorites. I also add this building here, which is it's not as likable to me, but I think it's a pretty cool building overall. So, here I'm material gathering to get into the big montage of me building up this entire city with all the buildings in a row. Let me know what you think this row should be called along the city. I'm also tearing down a castle here because I didn't like it, so let's get into it. I really want my world to tell a story. So by building this village, I want to add on more to it to kind of contribute to an overall storyline. So I'm planning on making another episode about building this ancient castle that overlooks at the top, where this kind of story is created and originated. So if you really want to see that, let this video do good, make this video do good, and I will try to make that happen. So I'm just finishing up the buildings here, and these are probably my favorites. This is like this main street area, and I think it turned out pretty good. Here I built one of my first interiors, which was probably one of my favorite interiors ever, just because it's so cramped and cozy. And I'm planning on making some more interiors throughout the village if this video does well. So this is just me adding on to this interior from the pizzeria from earlier. And I really like how this came out. I gave it the diner-esque floors and a small pizza oven and the little paddle the pizza goes in. And I think the seats turned out good. I used the new shelf block to kind of make these outlines around the chairs. And this is probably one of my favorite pizzerias I've done. And I've done a few. So I like this one a lot. And finally, I am adding a subscriber wall. So if you are publicly subscribed to my channel, you will be put on here. And I think this is pretty exciting. So make sure you're subscribed and that I can see it. And I will add you to this wall. So I'm excited to make more videos and like and subscribe. Watch more.